Hey guys, thanks for stopping by thetradinganalyst.com. This is Taylor. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. We're going to take a look at a few stocks that I'm looking to take action on this week, and I think you're really going to enjoy this video. So the first one we're going to take a look at is Snapchat. And I want to start here, start off by saying we had a failed breakdown on earnings, all right? I'll show you, we had some support here, right here, support. This was the earnings reaction right here, okay? Broke below that on heavy volume. Then what did it do? That was the lowest it went, really, and it went straight up after that. So a false breakdown on earnings, broke over this level, came down, retested it, okay? So we have a nice little mini uptrend, and I'll show you that right here. Okay, nice little mini uptrend, and this is around where I'm looking for a good entry on Snapchat. That's where I think would be a great entry if we get it. Okay, it could just blast off and head higher without hitting this level, but if it heads lower, that would be a great buy spot. We also have some previous resistance right there. You can see that resistance, about 7 days in a row hitting this resistance before we broke over it, and that lines up perfectly with this support right there. So very, very simple action here for Snapchat. Again, it had its chance to break down. We broke support on an earnings reaction. Okay, earnings move stocks. But then the very next day, it starts to head higher. So there's a very telling sign. It had its opportunity to break down, but it did not. Okay, so I think Netflix can head higher. I think it will head higher. I'm sorry, not Netflix. Snapchat. I think it will head higher. A nice risk versus reward entry is right near 1480, 1450, around this price point right here. Ultimately, I think it'll likely head to this resistance up here at about 17 bucks. You can see it was resistance all the way going back here. So resistance there, right here. We tried to break over it a little bit, couldn't quite do it, and then we headed lower. So that's going to be the target up here, 17 bucks. It could head higher after that, who knows? But that's just going to be the first target there. For Snapchat. If it closes below this trend line, I'm no longer going to be interested in it for a long, unless I can get it, all the way down here. But that would be a completely new setup. Okay, so that's Snapchat. The next one we're going to take a look at is MRK. Let's look at 2 years of action. Okay, so this stock, first and foremost, in a major uptrend. Secondly, we've got this sideways trading for the last, since June. I mean, we're talking about 6 or 7 months right now where we just traded sideways like this. Okay, 6 or 7 months trading sideways, and we finally just cleared that resistance. Looks a lot cleaner if you look on the weekly chart right here. Look at how tight this stock is right here. Okay, super tight, trading sideways, and we finally broke over that resistance just recently. So also, looking on the daily, not only did it break over that resistance, okay, but it did so with heavy volume. Right, this day right here, really heavy volume. It's the highest volume day we saw in the last almost 2 months. Okay, one of the heaviest volume days we've seen in the entire year, and it did that on the breakout. And right now, I believe we're just kind of retesting. I can actually lower this a little bit. There we go. Right now, we're just kind of retesting that breakout point right here. And this is a great risk versus reward buy spot. If it breaks back under, 86.40, I'm no longer going to be interested in it. But if it holds this level here, I think it can head much higher. So it's a great risk versus reward. Right here, you don't win every trade, but if you set your risk tight, then it's definitely worth the risk. So MRK, I definitely think that this one can head much higher. Okay, when you have all this sideways trading, let's just go back 2 years again. When you have all this sideways trading, that builds up a lot of energy, okay? Very similar to what the market just did, okay? If you look at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 was trading sideways between these two ranges, and then boom, we broke over it right here, and you can see a big move happened after that. So that's a very similar setup to what we're looking at here for MRK. It's a strong sector right now, a strong market, and this is a strong stock. So that's MRK. The next one is TXN. All right, so TXN, first and foremost, okay, we had this. This has been a strong stock. Okay, we broke over resistance right here, came down, retested it, and here we are once again coming down and retesting that previous resistance, which is now support. Okay, we've also got this nice uptrend line right there. Here's that touch here, and here we are bouncing off of it once again. So we've got this support as well as this trend line lining up perfectly. And then I'll just kind of zoom in here. The other thing we have is this big volume right here, this big volume. This to me was buying volume because we gapped down, but then we ended up closing green, okay, closing green. And now we're above that price point, okay, we're above that price point. We had our chance to break down, didn't do it. We're also over this little mini downtrend right here. So if we get some kind of retest lower, to me that's a buying opportunity. I think it can come up here and fill this gap up here on TXN. That price is right around $128. Of course, it can head much higher than that, but for me, that's just going to be the short-term target. And then after that, trail your stops and don't let it turn into a loser. So that's TXN. So right around this spot would be a good entry. If it breaks below about 118, I would not be interested in this any longer. So that's TXN. The next one is Alibaba. And Alibaba, I want to look at the chart here, the longer term chart. So this is 3 years of action. First and foremost, we've got this major downtrend line that we just recently broke over. I'll go to the weekly chart here just to give you a little cleaner view of it. Okay, so here we go. We just broke over that resistance basically this week. Okay, basically this week. With some heavy volume. This is one of the biggest weeks we've seen the entire year. Yes, we have lots of resistance very nearby, just above us, but ultimately I do think it breaks it. So a great entry would be if we get some kind of a retracement back into this level right here, which is right around anywhere between 190 to 180 is going to be a good entry here. We also have this nice uptrend line that's just below there as well. So this is a longer term chart that we're looking at. I'm not looking to day trade this with weekly options because a lot can happen. In these little fluctuation periods, but it is in breakout mode. It broke over this resistance, so a retest lower into this level, 190 to 180, to me would be a perfect buying opportunity. Let's see if we can get it. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at AYX. So this is the weekly chart for this stock. Clearly, this is in a major bull trend, and this correction we had several months ago is totally normal and a natural part of any bullish stock. So this is the weekly chart. Let's kind of boil it down into the daily chart, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. So first and foremost, and I'll zoom in a little bit in a second, but first and foremost, the volume is really what you want to look at, okay? This is some of the biggest volume days in a row that we've ever seen for this stock, okay? And volume, if you don't know already, tends to mark either tops or bottoms, all right? So, for example, we had this big down volume day over here, and that led to a pretty big decrease from 120, that was the closing price of that day, all the way down to about 87 bucks. Okay, that was a pretty big decrease. I think that's like 30%, something like that. Maybe, no, like 25% decrease in that stock. So pretty big loss. But this volume right here is even bigger on this end right here. And there were a couple of red days that had big volume here. But look at what happened. Red days with huge volume right here. And then that ended up marking the bottom. Here's another couple of big gap ups right here that ended up having big volume, big volume. Here's a big green day right here with big volume. And then we traded sideways, and now we're heading higher. Another few big volume days right here. So we got a lot of volume pumping into this stock. I think it's going to head much higher. Let me get into more specifics. So we are going to have some resistance up here. So I would expect some kind of pause once we get to 120 because there's a lot of resistance up there. But I want to be looking for buys right around, oops, let me see here. Okay, there we go. So we broke over this little downtrend line right here. If we get a retracement lower right here, anywhere between this area, okay, because we also have this previous resistance or previous support, which became resistance, all lining up right here, okay? The downtrend line we broke over, this uptrend line, so between about 105 to 98 is going to be a good buy zone here for AYX, all right? And if you've been following along with my history on AYX just recently, I did want to buy it at a lower price. A lot of the longer term holders of AYX did not like that. And to me, it didn't really make a difference because it's good for all you guys that it headed higher before it reached my buy spot lower. And if it doesn't reach this buy spot, again, I don't really care, okay? I want to buy at the best risk versus reward spot. If it doesn't get hit, it doesn't matter. I've got 20 other open positions, and I'm not treating this any differently than any other stock. So that's the technical pattern here that we're looking at, AYX. If we can get a retracement lower, I think it's a good buying opportunity. Even I think it's a good buying opportunity where it's at right now, because ultimately I think it heads much higher. This volume, the volume, guys, that is what you want to look at. This technical pattern, yes, it's bullish, but the volume, this major volume, is what's sticking out here for me on this stock. So AYX, definitely think it'll head higher. A retracement lower would be a great entry. Right now would be a great entry as long as you're not holding weekly options. So what you're looking at right now is the Trading Analyst Portfolio Tracker. This tracks all of our closed out trades that we've alerted to paying members here at thetradinganalyst.com. All of these entries were texted out to members to their cell phone in real time. All of the exits, entries and exits, all texted out via text message to members in real time as it happened. Not only that, but the vast majority of these trades get featured on the watch list ahead of time, so you're going to know exactly what to expect. We're not just throwing out alerts in the middle of the day and hoping you can follow along. Of course, that does happen sometimes, but again, the vast majority of the trades are put on the watch list ahead of time. So these trades are profitable. You can see the vast majority here are winners. Not all of them are. That's not realistic. The average win here is 51%. The average loss is 34%. The average win in dollar amount, because we do focus on trading position size and how much capital to put on each trade, the average win is more than double the average loss. For total gains here, and we've been using this portfolio tracker for about 18 months now. So in the last 18 months, tracking every single trade, wins, the losses, the break-even trades, everything, for a total profit of $317,000. All right, so these alerts are profitable, and when you sign up and you join, you are going to get access to those as well. So sign up today, and I'll start sending you these alerts as early as today. Have a good one, and I hope to see you in there.